Hello guys, good morning, welcome to my channel again. Today I would like to start the kind of new series of flights. So I was thinking about it and I thought it would be nice to fly like the most interesting Ryanair network airports. And we will fly this as Ryanair airplanes and real Ryanair call signs and flights. So basically I'm now in Dublin, and that's the actually, it's second biggest base in Ryanair network, but it's like the first big Irish base, and the headquarters are in here, so I decided to start off from Dublin. And we'll be flying today to Stansted, which is the biggest Ryanair base at the moment, with more than 40 base airplanes. Okay, so that's quite early morning today. I don't see much in here. It's still a bit dark. So yeah, let's start it up and we'll see how it goes. So we have the battery. We get the grandpa and bus. We need to get some lights as well, huh? Yeah, now it looks a bit better, at least for me. So yeah, where is it? Okay, so background. Main panel, and that's how it works more or less. We give some lights on the center console as well. Panel bright. Yeah, now it looks like we see something at least. And the co-pilot seat as well. We need to go to main panel and put it to bright. There is a little thingy. That's basically first thing you do when flying in the hours of darkness. You get in and just switch on everything, get the lights on, and yeah, we can switch on the dome light so we see more. Once we've done this one, we can go to to start to prepare the overhead panels. So we go to nav, on the sea, should go to a line, yeah, both of them. Switch on the yaw damper, check if our nav transfer display switches are normal and auto. Fuel pumps are going to on. You can hear the fuel pumps already, and then the electric panel. Those switches should be on always, basically. Then we go to circuit breaker panel. Yeah, its lights is on. We arm the emergency lights. We go back. Window heat is on. Hydraulic pumps are on. You can hear them as well. Trimmer. Packs are going to auto. Isolation valve is open on the ground. At least this airline. Some airlines will leave it auto, some will leave it open. So basically it should have the same position, but just up to you then. Then we continue to the prestation panel, which is quite important. The cruising level according to FlightPlan is 370 today, so we set 370, and the land altitude is 350 feet, and that's in auto. The valve should be fully open at this point of flight. Going back to lights, we switch on wheel well, we switch on steady, and it's night, so we switch on logo, and it basically should look like more or less like this, which is cool. Okay, so since we finished with the overhead panel, we go to the MCP. So flight is on. The courses are already set. The initial altitude I do expect is 9,100, actually flight level 90, so I set 9,100. Then going back down, I go to RTO, I check the flaps are up, and that's matching with the flap lever. cutoff, parking brake set, and that's done. And going to the panel, the pedestal, take a look on the pedestal. I'll give it some light as well, and some floodlight maybe. Super nice. So we check the frequencies, 1215 is active from the second box, pretty much always. Clock is set, it's going on the ATC1 and Alt1 if the captain's pilot flying. If the FO is pilot flying, we normally set it to 2, just to use the both transponders we have. The airplane is Cat 3, so we're good to go in here now. And yeah, we start thinking about the payload and fuel, I guess. That's a good point as well. So payload, basically, again, I used a full flight, so I have 16, 36, 36, 36, and 36, and the forward cargo. We usually load all the cargo that we have in the forward hold, unless we have too much for it, so we load something in the aft hold as well. This kind of flight usually we would have about 1500 kilograms of cargo that goes in, and yeah, payload total 12.88. That makes sense for me. I go back, and fuel 5865. 5865. I have 59 on board. The block fuel on the flight plan is saying 54, and usually we would just go with this amount of fuel. So yeah, I don't need fueling, and usually in day flying you would come to the airplane and find like the airplane is 2.3, 2.5 tons of fuel, so usually you do fueling on the first flight of the day. Sometimes they leave some extra fuel from last flight for some reasons, and then you just depart. There's no reason to take off fuel from the airplane. It takes time, and the fuel that you remove is useless, so we just leave it like this. And what else? Enter IRS position, yes sir. So FMS, clear the message, position in Celsius and Echo India Delta Whiskey. We use GPS left as always as a primary source. We put it in, and the attitude and map should pop out anytime now. And real life you would have the time displaying here, but that's the feature that Zibo is lacking, but it's really nice anyway. So since this everything is done, I usually do flight test when I arrive in the airplane. I forgot to do it here, so you basically check all the lights are operative. Everything is illuminated except this one. Just those 3, so yeah, looks good for me. I go back to bright, it's almost daytime, and yeah, we can do test, overheat, and fire test. It's illuminated, sweeps, and the cargo fire test as well. Back brake is set, so we go back in here, and payloads, yes, CG for takeoff is 11.5 in this case, so that's pretty much the one we expect in real life. Okay, so once we've done this one, we can go back to FMC, and the flight plans I'm using, you will find the comment section as well. So basically, once we've done the position initialization, we go to route, we go from Dublin, we go to Echo Golf Sierra Sierra, which is Stansted, and Romeo and Romeo 202, and runway is 28. That's most common runway in Dublin for noise, and usually the wind is like this as well. So again, going to performance, we go, cost index is 6, reserves are 2.5, Zero fuel weight expected is 61 tons. I go 61, fuel is 539, 66.9. Expected takeoff weight is 66.7 on the flight line, is pretty much in the limits. The cruising level is 370. It's executed, and the wind 326.034, 326 by 34. The ISO deviation 9, so we put it in. Transition altitude is 5,000, N1 limit, 11 degrees outside, and yes, we go to takeoff, we go flaps 5, 11.5 as we discussed before. Trim is 7, it's quite high trim. And we're going to the 7-ish almost. It's set, and it would differ. Basically, those two in real airplane are a bit split, so sometimes the FO thinks it's different and the captain's different, it's like half your difference usually. Whatsoever, usually I would just use the iPad to calculate the speeds, but since we don't have performance in here, I would just use something that usually we use. So usually we would go like 22k the rate, with 35ish degrees Celsius. It gives me 89.5 and 1, and go to takeoff, flaps 5, and 11.5, 725 preset. We have 141, 142, 147, and 147 is going in here as well. 147 is set. Okay, what else I haven't done? Yeah, shites, I forgot to put in the route. So we go from Dublin to Stansted, and the routing is gonna be, sorry for that, thought I forgot it, Liffy. And that's the waypoint in here. Quebec 36 into Noslow. And the box. Zulu 197, Zulu 197 to Listo, and Listo 5 Foxtrot to Stansted, runway 22, we go to departure, runway 28, and it's LIFFY5 Alpha, LIFFY5 Alpha, and then we go to arrival, ILS 22, transition is Abbott. Is it? Or not? Yeah, let's cancel this one. Arrival. And I have to execute it, activate. And execute it, so steep descent after walkway. Yeah. Arrival. We go to Laurel 5 Foxtrot, yeah, that's what I would pretty much expect. Laurel 5 Foxtrot, and transition with Laurel, obviously. Using reserve fuel, so yes, Parkway, Laurel, Brixton, Parkway. It's a long arrival, but we do get some shortcuts. I don't know why it's using reserve fuel 3.6 and reserve is 2.4, and the flight plan is saying we should be landing 3.7, so that's pretty much what we expect. What else we have to do is to check the departure. So we go to charts. I have Dublin, Dublin. We need to find the LIFFY5 Alpha departure, airport briefing, and it's what? That's star. So as I told you, the Ryanair is using not Jepson's but Navtec charts, but that's what I find in here, so I will use Jepson's so you can follow me through as well. That's still arrivals, SIDs, SIDs. That's not this one. Weapon, Dexon. That's still Dexon, and that's LIFFY. So it's one of the most common departures you do from Dublin. So we have it in here, and we can double check it in the FMC, and we double check it in the plan as well. So we do the plan, increase a bit the range, and the first point is Oscar Echo 3000 feet above. So that's Dublin 316. The first point is Oscar Echo. Of course, there's altitude restriction for turns. So Oscar Echo 3000 above, then we turn right to Dublin 096 inbound to Dublin, and we have 096 inbound to Dublin. There's no restriction here, and then we go to 096 LIFFY for 29 miles ish. 29 miles 095 is within the limits to LIFFY. The initial stop altitude is flight level 90 as we expected. I assume we got a clearance, so I just set 90 in here. And some companies do it, some not. Ryanair does it, so I put 90 in here. So it's 2 times. If we use VNAV, we're not gonna overshoot the altitude anyway. Since then, the FMC is done, and we'll limit takeoff on this side 141, 142, 147, and on the other side, we're gonna use the legs page, so we can monitor everything. Go back to map, and what else? I haven't set the QNH yet. It's saying 1022 in the 5 months. Yeah, makes sense. What you want to do? Maybe the 161. Same. 1022, 1022, and I copy it to the echo side as well, so we don't get the message. And the MFRA, so the acceleration altitude in case of engine failure, it's 1350 again, so 1000 above the airport elevation, 1350, and it's set. I don't think I started the sector, but ground services, set shocks, doors. You can open the door, extend the air stairs, and we start the flight leg. So going back, once we've done everything in here, we can go to the preliminary inspections and checklists. So safety inspection and before start checklist 2PA. Safety inspection, surface shocks checked, maintenance status checked. Batteries on, electrical pumps are on. Landing gear lever is down, ship's library is checked. Before start checklist are small sectors are nav. Of course the nav. Gear pins removed, so you would find 3 gear pins just hanging here. Sim doesn't have it, but check it tactically, so they are in there. Light test is checked, oxygen test at 1%, yaw damper is on.
Guys, the wheels on board.
Nav transfer switches are normal and auto. And what else? This was switches, yes, fuel. We need 5.3. We have 5.9 and we do have 4 pumps on. Commuting guard power switches are on. Emergency lights are armed. Fasten belts, yes, fasten belts are good. On. And nothing else. Ready. Window heat is on, air compressed, spikes out, top bleeds on, and it's set. Precision mode selector auto. And instruments, cross check, speed brake is down detent, so I check it. If it's down detent, I put it in thrusters just for a second. To check the movement, parking brake set, starting cut switches are normal, that's a big thing as I told you. Happens quite often. LIFFY5A warning checked, register and transponder set standby. And what is it? think. It just disconnected the front fire for some reason. Oh yeah, I used parking brake. Ground services. Front brake. It's backwards. Sorry, my bad. After this, we have to recycle our brake, and the other brake should pop off as well. Yeah, obviously. So back on. Rattle and trim screen 0 PA. Yes, on this point I will just go to the PA and to the PA. Welcome, Captain.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, welcome aboard our flight today. We're wrapping up the final paperwork here to get you on your way momentarily. I want to thank you so much for your company, and we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Again, welcome aboard.
What else? FMC CDU is set. We have takeoff right from here, flags on the right side, and the speeds are set as well. So N1 IS bugs automatic. Automatic, we check both of them are automatic. 22k, so the rate 2, and the speeds are dry 141, 142, 147, and we check 147 is set here as well. Stop trim is 7 units required and 7 units set. EFB airplane mode stowed. Yeah, doesn't work really well here, but whatsoever. Phones are off, flying window cockpit doors still to come. So we're holding flying window cockpit door. I would assume the briefing is done, so we'll do the route check. Instrument cross check, so UTC 061. We still have 10 minutes to depart according to schedule. 061 UTC, QNH 1019, reading 200, MFA 1350, flight XO, master massage, set. There's going to be left and departure, Fox 5, NAP 1.5, so we do 1500 feet accelerate and 1500 feet on the climb thrust. Emergency briefing is done, and the SID we go through, so LIFFY5 Alpha, and that's it, the box. Okay, we can assume the boarding is already completed, so we go to the front services, airstairs retract, door close, and yep. So go back and fly the window cockpit doors, locked doors are closed, and passengers are seated. That's checklist to the line completed. At this moment I would usually start the APU. So APU takes like 2 minutes to get stable and ready for the engine start. And what else we can do? We can go to prepare for the pushback. So I go to better pushback, pre-plan. That's actually a super nice feature. And we are on stand 120, so we get a pushback and a bit of pull to the release point in Dublin. So basically they will push us back in here to the line and then pull us to the link 5-ish thing.
Round to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
Since the APU is coming up, APU is available, I go to the boss, the parking brake is set, so they can actually remove the chocks. The chocks are removed, disconnect the GPU, the doors are closed, and once we've done everything, we can go to the APU bleed on. And that's done. So usually we call for pushback. Once we get the pushback clearance, we go to checks below the line. So packs are going to off. I switch on the anti-collision light, parking brake, and transponder is going to the out off. This is going to out off, so the ATC
Flight attendants prepare for departure, cross check and all call, thank you.
see us. Okay, so checks below the line. Air compacts are off.
Alright, we've got everyone strapped
Anti-slide
in.
is
Give us a ring
on.
if you need anything.
Parking brake is set. And transponder is on top. That's completed. Better pushback. Request pushback.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Forward boarding door has been closed. Once you're looking at all passengers to remain seated at this time, please double check the security of your seatbelt.
So usually waiting for pushback. Again, always waiting for something.
Flight equipment, please prepare your doors for departure on contact.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Yeah, the parking brake will be set, so he will connect himself. Sometimes they forget to ask you and they just connect and start pushing it back or whatsoever. But this case the guy is good, he asked. So he saw the parking brake is set. There is a light in here, in the panel, that is showing the parking brake is set, but they shouldn't use it themselves, just in this hatch. Okay, go back to flight deck. Some lights are on. Screens again. Are we ready? Can I release the parking brake?
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Yes, parking brake release. Time is 2.6.
Starting pushback, and you may start engine.
And time is 2.6. The flight plan is saying the departure is 2.5, so we're 1 minute late, and we can call it on the late pushback as usual. So yeah, basically any delay we try to put in pushback. So that's for anything. We don't start the engine so early, otherwise we will keep the engines running for a couple of minutes again. So once I see that they will start doing gas forward, I will just start starting the engines. Maybe a bit early, as the sim is starting engines very slowly. I don't know why, but it's really slow on the engines. I should get up at 5 and try to do it in real life. Okay, we're turning now, so we'll be starting engines 2 and 1 in sequence. Yeah, come on, don't drive from me. And starting engine number 2, clear on the right, clear on the left. We checked ourselves and we go to front. We have N2. N1. Oil pressure. Yeah, they should start pulling us forward soon. Yeah, it's coming up. 25%. We go to idle. That's a good pushback speed. So 45%. The startup will pop up. So 56, start cut out, motor 2, engine 2 is stable. So starting engine number 1, clear left, clear right. Starting engine 1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set, you can disconnect that.
Disconnecting tow.
Yep.
Stand by.
And 1. Oil pressure. And since we have 20% minimum, we wait usually for 25 anyway. If you do this too early, come on, what's here? Yeah. If you do this too early, you can get the hot start, so the EGT can exceed the start limits. But yeah, that shouldn't be the case. yes, we have. We usually wait until we have 2 engines stable, so I just wait a second. It's almost 56. Start it out in 1 as 20, 40, 60. Stable, yes, good to disconnect and see you on the right pin. Thank you very much, bye bye. And we'll do this. Generate on buses, APUs off, and then go back to the seat and we wait for the signal. So basically, some pilots will just start doing the flow, but usually we should wait.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Thank you very much. This guy has even the Irish accent, as you hear. He has an Irish accent, so that's nice of him. Appreciate it. Okay, so is he on the right? Yes, that's the pushback. That's the pushback. And wait for the guy with the pin. There's a guy with the pin, so once we see the guy, we continue. Start switches continues. Profits are on. And backs auto. Isolation of auto. APUs off. Y did, L did reset. 370 and 350 is again on the box and auto. Nice. Then we go hops 5, and flight controls, full forward, full back, to the right, to the left, left, center, right, center, and we extinguish W, recall, and go before taxi checklist, generators on, APUs off, start switch continues, anti-ice is off, aircon tracks out or bleeds on, isolation valve is auto, and we go to flaps, 5 required, 5 selected, and we have green light. Stop trim, 7 units required, 7 units set, and start number title 10, flight controls checked, recall checked, and that's the recall taxi check is completed. Guess we can check recall probably. And we can start taxi. Since we're late for taxi, I will just release the parking brake, do the config check, config, back to idle, and go clear left, clear on right. And continue taxi. We taxi runway 28, and usually we'll taxi to Foxtrots, or usually Foxtrot all the way to Alpha, and then go Foxtrot inner, clear on the left, and go all the way back to Alphas. So nice and slow. And during the taxi, once we leave the aprons, we do the before takeoff checklist. So before takeoff config checked, flaps we have 5 green light, stop trim, 7 units required set, take the briefing, flags out, bleeds on, price speeds we have 41, 42, 47 set, gonna be left departure, flaps 5, NDP 1.5, runway 28, and we go straight ahead, then turn right, flight level 90 twice, and there's no emergency turn reviewed. And the cabin storage secure, so that's the before takeoff checklist is completed, and we usually call the ATC that we are ready for departure at this point. So we departed almost on schedule, so 25 past, and the usual block time is like 1 hour 20 with taxi out on Dublin, taxi out in Stansted. We should be landing just on time here, unless we get any bad traffic. Stansted, and we don't expect to get a single distance. We are slowing down, and that's gonna be Echo 1 Alpha. That's Alpha, that's the point we expect taxiing, but it's not. Oh, it's very nice. And I will stop here, set the parking brake, and once we clear the line up, we'll go lights off, radar on the captain's side, and the vehicle will go all throttles, LNAV, strobe lights entering the runway, and TA array, yeah, I can move a little, TA array, and default takeoff checklist below the line, MCP, set, transponder, TA array, strobe lights are on, and landing lights, yes. Once we get cleared for takeoff, we say clear for line takeoff, lights on, and that's done. Since then we taxi the runway, clear on the left, clear on the right, and confirm we clear the line of the weight, and actually clear the line of the take runway 28 and runway via Alpha. And the echo will go yes, I confirm, clear the line up and take the 28, and we go runway 36 initially, which is not our runway yet. Okay, again clear on the left. That's a quite difficult lineup in the Dublin, so basically line up via runway 34, then turn right like 120 degrees, line up here, take a look, should be nice, and start turning back, like in real life it's super easy, you can see everything around, so here it's a bit tricky. Okay, I see it. Okay, once we line up and clear for takeoff, we go with timing, stabilized, so set takeoff thrust, 89.5, takeoff thrust set, indications normal.
80 knots.
80 knots checked. Bit windy, but it's okay. P1.
P1, rotate.
Rotate. Do a nice and slow rotation.
Positive rate.
Get up. Rotate to 15 degrees.
400.
LNAV. And the attitude is climbing down nicely.
1000.
Checked, accommodate. And once we are approaching 1500, so we are approaching 1500 now, we have climb thrust, and we go plug up. Plug up. The plane will start accelerating. So we have the green arrow here, so we go flaps 1. Checks, flaps 1. And then we go flaps up, checks, flaps up. So we have 3000, flaps up, no lights. We set clean up, set standard, standard, and standard. Checklist, so engine self is off, gears off, auto brake is off, flaps are up, and after the checklist is air compress, 2.2 units and set. The rest points we do this silently, and altimeters, and then the captain's goes captain goes like standard set, 3 times, passing by 0590, and let's have to take the check is completed. Okay guys, sorry, it looks like I just had a little technical issue, but we should be back online now. And yes, we're still on the departure from Dublin. We're just passing transition altitude, so I do set standard once. I do set standard here, and I set standard out here, so I have it 3 times, and yeah, that's basically after takeoff checklist is completed. And the next one is descent checklist. Nice. So we are approaching 9,000, so actually 590. At this point we usually get another climb, so in Dublin it usually be like level 200, so I'm gonna set 200, and I do have VNAV, but I do have this little constraint in here, flight level 90, so the VNAV will stop at 90. And if I want to cancel, I can do it by 2 things. I can either delete it from here, or there is a quicker way that I can show you. There is Alt intervention button. When I press it once, yeah, I just press it once in here, and it cancels the restriction, and the autopilot goes back to VNAV path, and it will continue climbing again in a second. So basically that's the typical departure we get out of Dublin, and usually we get as well speed up in here. So yes, we maintain it 250 below flight level 100. It will go to 280 anyway, but usually you would get 280 somewhere like 3,000-4,000 feet. So as we're passing 10,000, timing 200, I do the 10 checks. So the 10 checks, we start with fuel. So we basically do the abbreviation for flaps. So fuel is balance. We have 4 pumps on. We check we have 4 pumps on. Next is L, so lights. Lights are coming off. Landing lights, turn off lights. And view, command, throttles, and we have command alpha, and seems to get back. So once again, fuel is balanced. We have 4 pumps, lights are off. We check if we have logo, wheel well, and anti-collision on. Then A, so APU. Yeah, as you saw, it's now it's off, but I forgot to switch on subjects to start the engines. And precision. So precision, we check the differential pressure. We have 4.2. That's pretty much what you expect in the real airplane. And we check the cabin altitude. In this case, it's almost 3,000 feet, and the cabin rate is 500. Then you go back here. Yeah, I didn't set this one after the malfunction. So 370, and the landing altitude is 350, which is set. Check for the bleeds, packs, isolation valve goes to auto. Anyway, this one should depressurize, and we are flight level 150. It should be already kind of higher, but I guess it's the same thing. And we check for the prestations, so the prestations are on. We don't need this bleed. If we switch on this bleed, I have to do a bleed light. But the 800 is basically doing it this way, that if the APU is off position, and even if you have this APU bleed on, it won't do the APU bleed, so I can switch it anyway. It should be like this. So packs, auto, bleeds are on, this is off, and the isolation valve is auto. And the last thing is trimmer. It's not really necessary, but cabin temperature is more controllable if it's on. And the last thing is passengers, so yeah, there's no turbines, we can release them already. So approaching this one, they would usually ask us for the cruising level. So the policy is that we use the cruising level from the flight plan, or the optimum, whichever is lower. So this case is 370. And they would assign you 370 or 350 initially, but yeah, so that's just a short flight, so I go 370. I check VNAV, so I check 370 is set. I check if I have VNAV, and 3701, 2 and 3 times in here, and monitor 115 box in here. And that's it, basically. And the route looks like this. It's nice and easy. Takeoff. What happened after this? Takeoff. Why do I have Takeoff? Yes, of course I have Takeoff. Sorry, another one. Now the flag is gone, and I should have flight radar in the airports. And the guy here should have terrain and the airports, which is kind of normal procedure here. Nice feature is the flight path vector. Some pilots use it, I don't use it, it's just too much data, at least in flight. For the approach I can use it, I like it, but otherwise I don't. And as we're passing 200, basically any full level, so 100, 200, 300 and then 400, you will just go to the overhead panel and check registration again. After 10 checks you can do it silently, so it looks like the cabin is actually descending. It should be climbing, but it's descending, and the differential pressure is super high, so we have to keep an eye on that one. It should start climbing and get like 8.2 differential pressure at around like 350-ish. So yeah, as you see now it's climbing again. So yeah, it's looking good. We have bags plates, so it shouldn't be bad. It's nice in automatic system, but you know, always you have to check or something, as usual. So since this is done, I can go back to the FMC to the CPU actually, and yeah, check the route itself. If we're going from Dublin to Stansted, there is usually a long route into Stansted, so now time is 48, and we will check the expected landing time. We go to progress. Expected is 36 with 2.6 of fuel, minimum is 2.4, so we still have some spare fuel, and if you need extra fuel to spare, you can just reduce speed. So that's it. But if you go to legs and go to plan here, check the arrival, which starts from Listo actually, and the first restriction is Rugby at level 200, which is the same in here as well. Go to Stansted level 200 on the Rugby. Let's put it back, yeah, nice. I hope you hear me better actually in this video. The previous one it was a bit too quiet for me. That's the old arrivals, but yeah, I cannot put the new charts in here for some reason. I put the new one, but I cannot find it. It's still loading the old one, so maybe resetting the computer will help later on. But if I go to Rugby at 200, it prevents too late descending actually for this one. Rugby, Slippy, Combo, and Parkway. And that's the thing that is in the FMC initially. So they do expect us to go to Parkway and then go to Gustav, Laurel, and again to Parkway. So we're doing all this 360. And since I did this flight like 15 or 20 times, it never happened, but I actually had to do it. I did 1 or 2 holdings of Parkway, but they usually ask me to hold instead of going all the way here. So in order to prepare for the approach, to have the nice calculations and times and everything in fuel, we would usually just remove Gustav Laurel. I don't see a reason to have it actually here, so there are 2 ways we can go Parkway. Just put it here, execute. But if there is Parkway, it might give you some wrong indications. And we expect runway 22, and I have bearings 10 and 4 will expect weather today. And we do expect kind of this routing, and some later videos I will show you how to create and edit the points in the FFC. So we go to Parkway, then we have Parkway 16 outbounds, and a DME distance from actual Parkway 12, where we do start turning to the final, and we do expect to intercept localizer at approximately 8 miles, which is completely normal. Then again we have center fix to 2,500, and they do expect us to do the continuous descent approach, so that means that below flight level 100 actually in Stansted below 6,000 feet. They do expect you to descend continuously, so if we have these restrictions 3,000, 2,500 here, it will just level off 3,000, continue and start descending somewhere here to 2,500. But if I put 3,000 above, that would be totally correct. And then have center fix to 2 and 2,500, final fix at 2,500. I don't need these level segments, so I put 2,500 above from this point. And then it should nicely descend all the way down to 2,500 to actually capture the glide slope. Still 2,500, huh? Get it? So I could use this one. Execute 2,500 above. I put it in here, and now it's 2,500 above. Step. 3,000 above, 2,500 above. And that's it. Nice. Flight level 300, we go again. Two things. Check the press station, it's already amber band, but the cabin is climbing, so it should descend, should reduce a bit. And it's totally acceptable, 8.65 in here, so that's okay. We check at the station, and at level 300 we check as well to make sure actually that the bank angle limiter is set to 25 degrees, so to 10 degrees. Like this. I will match the headings, and that's basically done. What else? So the landing time was 27, now it's 31. The basic wheel spurt is 6 minutes, so we do know what to expect. And yes, now we are approaching a lava. Usually you would get direct heading somewhere about this point, so heading, you check if it looks correctly, execute. And after we did execute, we check if LF is there and if it's actually turning the place we want to go. Match the headings. And as you can see, the limiter is set to 10 degrees, but the bank angle is actually like 20 degrees. The reason of that is that this mode works actually on the heading select, so if I put heading select, it will level to 10 degrees. LNAV has the protection itself, so he will turn regardless of whatever you set here. He will use just whatever he needs. That's the point of the LNAV. And that's it. So once we get level, we can start preparing for the approach in Stansted. We do have ILS runway 22. It's gonna be category 1 ILS runway 22, and there's a lot of planes in here. So okay, I see this one. I will be landing runway 22 in here. I do expect to vacate runway 22, then I go left and I taxi back to Stansted. I do expect from this flight to stay on somewhere on April Delta anyway. So it's quite a long taxi by Juliet usually, but you have to listen carefully to changes on the lots. And ILS DME localizer on the 04, 04, runway 22, and captain note. So we got one ILS DME localizer on the 22. And again, preparation for the approach, we have 1000 to level off. The rate is 1300. 1500 is still okay if it's above 1500. Basically, what we're using the rate of the vertical speed to 1000. We will have some level segment, it's not long, top of the descent is 27 miles, so yeah, have to prepare quite quickly on this kind of flights. So LS DME runway 22, we do expect localizer and user actually 10.5, and so we have 10.5 active from the last flight I did. And the final approach course is 2 to 3.
1,000 to go.
So I do set 2 to 3 here as well, and then I just cross-checked in here, so I have departure, arrival, ILS to 2, and 10.5, India Sierra X-ray 2 to 3, and 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 10.5, 10.5, so I do have all the same set in here. Minimums for this approach, I would set 548. That's gonna be bottom minimums. Yes, sir. So we go to bottom minimums and we say 548. Have to get used to this. Actually, I can click, huh? Let's click here. 548. 548 set. The real one, it will do it, but this one doesn't, so we go back to 548, yeah. Wow. 548 set on both sides, but anyway, this is just for reference. This one is the thing that is causing the callouts. And for performance, we have to land as short as possible, so we have 8 early, so I said auto brake 3. I can go auto brake max as well, it's not said that I cannot, and fuel use is 600, so 57.8 will be landing weight. Flaps 30, or actually flaps 40 in this case, speed 132 plus 5, 137. I check the set here. And that's done. And usually this distance we would get again descent to 500, 200, so we're gonna transfer the control to the FO. He will set 200, we check if level 200 is set, we go to PINA, and again if I push this button it will go to 1000 feet descent, and then capture the glide path all the way down to 200, which is set on the rock bay. Since then, once we did the performance, we have the auto brake, we can go to the descent checklist. So landing altitude 350 is set, anti-ice is off, approach with fuel is discussed. So yes, we would basically discuss the approach with fuel. The other thing is 250 below 501 instead of 240. So we have to keep it standard, so basically it doesn't accept, we'll delete this. I don't know why it's not coming. 250 below flight level 100. Ah, come on. Why not? Okay, 240 sounds good as well. If they ask us to speed up, we just go to vertical speed or any other mode and speed up manually. And ISL box checked and set, so we check, we have flaps 4132, minimums 548, and 548 on his side, and EGSS will display it here. So that's the thing to do. And that's the send checklist completed. Next is approach checklist, and if I had time and it's not really busy, I might do the PA, but we shouldn't do this PA is on descent, but yeah, maybe you can do it. Okay, that's it. So far so good. And as you see, the glide path is approaching, so it will go from FMC speed with 1000 to retard any second. Yeah, approaching 100 feet to go pro-ish. It should go to retard now and follow the route. Why is not doing it at FMC speed? Okay. If you have this kind of message, you can go to legs, select the top leg, the active one, put it back on active and execute, and it should recalculate it. And now it's going to retard at arm. The other thing, we have these restrictions because of the shortcuts. That means that if we get shortcuts from Rugby to Brockway, it won't be too high. So if I show it like this and I execute, we are still on autopilot. So that's the reason they put all these restrictions in there. And we are landing at 28. If you need to speed up, you can change the FMC speeds. But you have to be careful, because if you go, let's say 7.8 by 280 and do execute that, it might show something wrong. Okay, if you increase the speed, it will usually show that you are actually below the flight path. But then if you reduce the speed, let's say 220, and I show you that if I put 220 and I do execute it, it will show that I'm too high and it might overspeed the airplane actually, and it will show traffic required in any second. So as you see, I reduced the speed in here, but the VNAV is on bath, so it won't actually reduce the speed itself. So I go back to 280, not here, sorry, 280. I do execute it, and we should land at about 28 here. We still have 25 minutes to land. So actually, again, we descending through flight level 300. What we do would be setting the bank angle to 25 as we're descending down, and we check the pressation again on the panels. And the cabin should be descending. This one should be decreasing already. So it all looks good so far. Since the descent checks are completed, so the next thing we do expect is to switch on the seatbelt sign, and we do it approximately 15 minutes to land, or at level 1 flight here. If it's busier flight and we expect like longer for the preparation, the cabin would late. But usually we give them 15 minutes, so I would switch it on about 12 past, maybe 10 past. So a couple of minutes. Basically, that's changes mostly on the type of passenger. So if you're flying from, UK to Ibiza or something, you have 180 drunk British guys. Then you have to switch it on early, so the cabin crew have more time to prepare. As some people might not listen, but if you're flying this kind of flights like Dublin to Stansted, most of people, it's like 7 in the morning, so most of people are still sleeping, they won't even get up. So there's no really reason to get them strapped in early. Stansted, the actual Stansted, if you're flying for Ryanair, Stansted is the airport going the most. So Stansted is the biggest base. They have like 46 or 47 airplanes based. I don't know how about COVID, but it's something like 47 or 8 is a massive base. And the other thing is, whenever we are based across the Europe, we always have flights to Stansted. So if you base in like Cagliari or Warsaw or whatever, you would do the 1 or 2 flights to Stansted every week. So it happens to be like you are super often in this airport. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's well organized lately, so most of the people like to fly to Stansted. I do as well myself, so yeah, not complaining too much. So we're approaching Rugby at level 200, and we usually would get further descent, let's say, to level 110 or 120, and if it's not really busy, we can get direct to Parkway as well. So let's simulate it, yeah, Parkway. And check if it's a good point, yeah. Seems good for me. Execute LNAV, and we have FMC speed because we had this restriction of 200 Rugby. So he will add some thrust, capture the glide path again, and continue descending further on. In a second. Oh, yes sir, Stansted. Yeah. I'm just wondering what should be the next flight, next sector I will do. So if you have any suggestion which sector I should do, just leave me a comment. So basic idea is just fly along across the Ryanair network. So I couldn't start anything else than Dublin to Stansted. As I told you before, like we have this route 7 times a day or something. So it's really nice. I was thinking to go back to Ireland for next sector, maybe Shannon or Port. Shannon is nice airport, I could show you some things in Shannon. So yeah, just leave me a comment, I will take it into account. And maybe any of you will have idea why actually I cannot listen to 80s whenever I set in NAP1 or COM1 or COM2, whatever. I have my new charts on the iPad, but it still doesn't have the 80s for some reason. 80s should be 127.175, 127.175. Yeah, let's check it. And I just don't see the 80s anyway, whatsoever. I'll try to fix it for the next flight as well. The other thing, if I have the 80s, I am able to preset the QNH, which is quite normal procedure. I have the QNH from the Metar, so it's 1020, and it's preset in here. And again, 1020. I go in here, set the 1013. Then go back to 1020, push the button and it goes back to standard. So whenever I'm passing transition, I just push it and it goes to 1020. Nice feature, makes life easier. And yes, so we have approximately 15 minutes to landing, 25, it's 10 past. And I just go seatbelt sign on. They do some kind of PA, and after we're passing level 100, we will do the 10 minutes to landing PA, so they know they have to secure the cabin for landing. Yeah, that's it. So far, so good. What else we can do? Habitat. And map. Where are we now? We are just somewhere over Spotted, whatever it is, and we are approaching Northampton, then there's Rugby, and we'll be flying across Bedford and turn left and onto Cambridge-ish, and the Stansted is somewhere here, so go back to charts. I have these charts ready, so I know what to expect. And we are prepared for landing mostly. Yes, sir. Done. So far, so good. The checklists are done. And for now, we'll just monitor how the sound is going. Sometimes, if it's not really busy, they will give you this kind of vector. It's not a shortcut anymore, it's just vector. So, for some reason, Barclay is 3,000 feet above is here, so yeah, I can delete it. Anyway, it will be above 3,000 a lot, so it's nice. And since we're approaching the level off, the ATC in Stansted, it's actually very nice. They really work well. They will give you like 80 at this point. And there's the SX radar, which is like a very busy environment. You have Stansted and Luton. We do have actually the same arrivals with both airports, so they have a lot of work, but they manage really, really nicely. I don't see any airports in here. I don't know why. It should be showing a lot of them actually in here. Maybe it's something about the settings, configure and customize display variants. I saw something below, but I saw something there, but I cannot find it now. I don't think it's the best place, the best moment to do it. Hardware, no, visual effects, realism. Not really. Maybe general config. Global units are set. There's the second page as well. Hide cockpit seats. Headset common radio, no, that doesn't really work well. Hardware. Maybe. No, there's nothing here. I'll try to Google it, but no, it should be showing like which airports it should display, but it should display any airports, and it's actually not displaying any at all, so that's kind of a mistake. Go home, tab, charts, and that's it. So we're approaching gate 0. We usually get descent 6,000 feet. So 6,000 set and 6,000 is checked. Set QNH 1020, 1020, 1020. We go to the FO side as well, and we do have to set 1020 as well. So he has nothing preset. Motto 1020 and set. We are passing 11,000, descending 6,000. We have standby altimeter set, and we can put the port on just in case for now. And as we're approaching 10,000 feet, we can do the 10 checks whenever you have some moment. You can do it early. You don't have to do it on 10,000 feet. So 11,000, descending 6,000, 10 checks. We go again. With this abbreviation, so fuel is balanced, we have 4 pumps, lights are on, so we go with landing lights and runway turn-off lights. We switch on log off, it's night time, so we don't need it now. Angle of bank is 25 degrees, and pressurization is 3.6 actually as descending, it's all set. We go with recall, we check recall, flight controls. What is it? Flight controls, yeah, it's because I lost the power, so I go recall. Should be nicely done, nicely dark for now. And fasten belts are on. We just double check if it's on. We give 10 minutes for landing, so we do expect to have the cabin screwed in 2 minutes. And that's it. So far so good. We have 15 past, we just set 10 minutes for landing, so we're landing actually 10 minutes as you see. And if you are in VNAV, it should be nicely reducing speed to 250. It's not like this, but it will just go slowly in the real one. But as I see, it will follow nicely. Anyway. Super real, huh? So, before we do the approach checklist, we have to have two things done. So, first thing is the fuel range has to be set. So, we have to be cleared to descend to altitude. And the other thing is we have to have the ident. For now, it's ESET, Indian Delta. But we do expect Indian X-ray. That's the reason because Stansted has the two frequency. One frequency for both runways. And once we go on this side, should be going to Indian X-ray. So that's the Stansted thing that you can expect Indian X-ray later on. And once we approach this one, they would usually clear us to 3,000 feet or to 4,000 feet. So let's say 4,000. Set, 4,000 is checked, and he is going to Runway, and now she should be turning left, and we have bracket quiet. Why? I didn't notice that. Yeah, so I need some drag at least. I have 24 miles, it's still good. And we do have speed brakes. So we are reducing speed to 50, actually 240, yeah. So it sounds good to me, I just stopped the speed brake for now. And it has overshoot because of the speed. So anyway, if you see that one, I will just start reducing speed. Already it's bug up, so whenever you're ready you can start extending the flaps. So just to make sure the speed is below 250. And I go with flaps 1, so speed checks. And immediately you see the maximum speed reduced to 250. You have to wait for flaps 1. Flaps 1, green light, so we go. Flaps 5. It's still 250, and the amber one is showing the flaps maximum speed for the next flap setting. And in this case, it's going to be flaps 15, so 200. Yeah, now we can start the speed brake. And actually, I would. Usually, it's not SOP, but some pilots would just sound the speed brake is points, so don't forget it later on. And we have nice speed. We have 17 miles to go. Once we have the cabin secure, so they would give us this sound that you can hear on some videos. We have some tailwind, so if we have tailwind you can go with flaps 10. And once we have cabin secure, I will go like cabin crew seats for landing. So I saw the PA in here, so I tried to do it. So PA system, prepare landing captain. He said something, I haven't heard anything, but yeah, that's nice. Anyway. We have good speed. It will start turning to final soon. We are on profile, so we have frequencies 10.5, 10.5, and we check 10.5 in here. Rings are in for runway 22, so we have runway 22, 10.4. Idents, Indian X-ray, standby instruments are set, and port says 2 to 3, 2 to 3, and 2 to 3 in the box. And then we go to approach checklist, ultimate instruments, set across check, load changes, check and set, and they would usually give you descent clearance, so clear for approach, descent 2500, we set it, and basically it's either vectors or if it's not vectors, they will just give you the clearance like this. 2500 set and checked. We have VNAV, we are on profile, and once we have correct sensing, so we are on glide path. But still we are on the now we are on correct side. So once we are like this, you can go approach or you can go Volok or you can go approach, depending on whatever you want. As long as this dot is within 1 dot, it's okay to arm the glide slope. And she should be turning left, right to 2 to 3, so I can set runway heading 2 to 3. And it should be Volok capture, glide slope capture, pretty much at the same time. If using VNAV and we do the correct descent, it will just go like once, both at once. So we'll see, we'll check it. Once it will capture localize the glide slope, this window will open, and you can open it manually as well. Volok capture, glide slope captured, so 2 to 3 runway heading, missed approach altitude is 3000 feet. And you check this as well in here for 3000 feet. And that's it. The next one is dropping the landing gear at 4 miles. And we did the approach check, this next is landing checklist. I have already this as armed. I can go start switches to continuous. Normally the pilot monitoring would do it, but since we are a single pilot now, we can do it heavy. And the other thing is, once we get clear to land, you switch on the taxi light on. So we just assume that we are clear to land at this moment. And that's it. So
2500.
terrain noted, so we have to check if the terrain is displayed on the FO side. It's always FO side in this company, so some companies will have pilots flying on weather, not flying on terrain, but this one is always like this. So just want to keep it real. And I will go with gear down, flaps 15 early, gear down, flaps 15, do reduce speed, flaps 15. Yes. And landing checklist to flaps still starts, which is continuous, recall checked. Speed brake ample light, landing gear down to green, auto brake 3. Holding on flaps, so we go flaps 30. So sorry, flaps 25 initially. We have to reduce speed at this moment. And we can go to flaps 40. It should be 132 plus 5, so 137. And flaps 40, 40, green light, landing lights on, landing checklist is completed. And that's it. So far so good. I would usually sit a bit higher for landing. I would sit like this probably. So yeah, that's kind of real position for me. So once we're established and we have nice visual contact, we can go with manual flight. Some pilots will keep it down to minimums almost, but yeah, I like it disconnected. If there's no much workload, I just disconnect it myself and fly it. And yes sir, the N1 would be like 56, 57 in this case. In flaps 40, if you use this, it usually stays around the speed you want. And I disconnect it manually. I cannot still fly the simulator, so sorry for that. I'm trying, but I'm still wobbly a bit. I'll do my best. Maybe we won't crash. Please don't crash. And as you see, if N1 is around 60%, 58, 60, the speed will stay at the limit you want.
Approaching minimums.
Checked.
Bumps.
Continue. You can follow the flight directors as well, but they will just disappear at 50 feet anyway, so you have to fly to the ground. You cannot start
50,
flaring
40,
heavily.
30, 10,
Speed brakes up.
10,
Reversers. And auto brake. 100 knots. I go manual braking. 80 knots. And I can vacate this one at 60, but you have to be very careful as well. Once we're 60, we vacate. Slow down on the rapid exit taxiway, and once you are at taxi speed, so below 30 knots, you can close the reverses, but you don't have to. Don't rush with that. Yep. Once you vacate, you can close the reverses. So, and usually, as I told you, we take the second to the left, so clear on the left. After landing, I would just go terrain in here and switch off the landing lights, and the FO would do the flow in a second. So basically I will stop for a second, set the parking brake, and the FO would go. Start switches off, lights to steady, and he goes plus 100, anything plus 100. Speed is going back to 100. Auto brake going back to off. Flaps are going up. Speed brake is going black. And transponder is going to alt off. And that's the flow is done. We can release the brakes and continue taxi again. So we turn to Juliet, clear on the left, clear on the right. We go to Juliet, and since the airplane is light, you have to keep in mind that it will speed up really easily even on idle, so you have to be 10 or less during turn. I do have 11, so I'm telling you stuff that I don't follow myself. But yeah, now it's 13. On straight line you can go to 30, and once we are on 3 minutes after landing, we can just cut off number 2. We don't need 2 engines in the straight lines. So with 1 engine with this kind of weight, so we have like 2 tons of fuel, we can taxi nice and easy with almost idle power and just 1 engine. So master caution ELEC, we just cancel that. And once we'll be approaching the stands, I will start APU or not, depends, because in Stansted they're quite quick with the ground power, so we don't have to start the APU, we can just taxi into the stand and wait. And that's what we are going to do today. Just taxi into the stand and wait. Yeah, that's it. And as you see, we have 20 knots, almost 30, and the engines are idle, so it's speeding up a lot. Stansted, so you have seen it actually a lot of times. And yeah, that's the freighter place. You see a lot of 747s, 777s in here. And once you pass this one, you have Alpha Bravo aprons, and then you see a lot of Ryanair airplanes. And the other low cost as well. It's not the biggest base for the other ones, but you can see EasyJet. Quite a lot of EasyJet actually, but if you go here early, if you're flying from Stansted on the first wave, it's pretty impressive how many planes they have in here. So yeah, and the other thing I forgot, flight director is off. It's not a big thing, but yeah, just not to have anything on here that you don't need. That's Bravo, isn't it? Yeah, apron Bravo. and Apron Bravo is already full of runners, and some other locals, and Apron Charlie is pretty much only runner. And the crew room, so the briefing we have it somewhere over Apron Charlie in here, but if the airplane is somewhere there in the morning, you have to walk like 2 kilometers just to get to the airplane, so it's quite a difficult airport to fly from. You have to be early to depart on time. Yeah, but it's nice. We have a lot of destinations. It's super nice. And that's Apron Delta, which we do expect to taxi into. We have to reduce speed, and before we taxi to Apron, we usually switch on the lights, so we're not blinding the underground crew or something. Delta, clear right, clear on the left, 10 knots, and we do taxi into the Apron. In here, I don't want to smash anybody. This one should be nicely on the left. There's no other traffic, and we usually would get stand like 62 left or 63, 64 left. And that building is, I guess, the most known hotel around the Ryanair network. So if you're flying for Ryanair and they send you to fly from Stansted, you're gonna sleep in here for like 3 or 4 nights during the year. The same with the simulators. The simulators are in Stansted, so you are a lot in here, really a lot. 63 left, and the next one would be 62 right. And the thing is that usually you have the self-positioning system, so they don't have any guidance, but you have to taxi into here yourself, and there is the arrow that you have to stop into. It might get tricky sometimes, but it's just a matter of getting used to it, I guess, like always. My bad. Why are you not moving? Okay, so I have one engine. So if I do have one engine and I need to taxi into this stand, I would usually ask for the APU or pushback or something. So basically, first thing, if I cannot taxi, I would start on the APU. Okay, it's uphill, so yeah, of course. And try to do it again. Yeah, now it's moving. Nice. Now it's moving. I don't know why was it, but if it's in single engine and you give it too much power, it will just go all the way. So in real life, it would be easier because you have this arrow that you have to stop next to your shoulder, so it's easy to spot. And here I just go outside, and this. Parking brake is set, and we do usually wait for the ground power unit, so we go to ground services, GPU connect, and the GPU is available, so we put it on bus. Engines are going to off. We switch off the seatbelt signs. Some slides open doors, and that's it basically, and we wait for 20% on engine number 1. Since it's below 20%, we will do the flow, so the speed is decreasing, and we still have the beacon lights, so the crew knows that the engine's on the high RPM. Actually 20% below, we go tentacles off. And what else? We check all the systems. Rocket is going to off. Isolation valve auto, and that's it. We check in here, the brake is set, and we do the transit shutdown checklist. So in this company, if we're flying further, we have two types of checklists. So it's gonna be either full shutdown checklist, so we're gonna read all the points, or just the transit, so you just read the dashes. So electrical and ground power fasten belts are off. Probe heat is auto. Anti-ice is off. Voice recorder is on, and air compact is auto. We'll check if it's auto. Engine bleed on, AP bleed off. External lights are steady. Start switches are off. And auto brake is off, speed brake is down to 10th, parking brake is set, start lever is cut off, that's important one, weather radar is off, CVSB is in and cockpit door is unlocked. That's the transit shutdown completed, and if you want to go last flight of the day, you just read all the points, and that's it. Thank you very much for coming, thank you for watching. We open the doors, we extend the EGSS, and we are in Stansted. Thank you very much, have a nice day, and see you soon again.